Mr Speaker, this is a devastating day for Australia.
Can the Prime Minister confirm that Australia has plunged into the worst recession in almost a century?
We have acted to seek to cushion that blow as much as we possibly can. And that has been done at a great cost and a price, Mr Speaker, worth paying.
These are the darkest economic times since the Great Depression.
The economy went backwards by 6.3% this year. The worst we've formerly seen was in 1930 when it went back 10%. So this is almost historically unprecedented in terms of both the depth and the sharpness of the economic shock.
The sudden uncertainty unleashed on our lives by a global pandemic can leave us disoriented at times, not sure where to search for a path ahead, and not even sure what has been happening in the past. Our politicians were keen to set the context in which to see today's national accounts numbers.
The falls that we've seen in other economies have been more severe than what we saw today.
Most voters probably don't care how our collapse compares to those in other parts of the world. They certainly do care what these numbers tell us about where the economy is headed next.
What was really extraordinary is the way in which we saw consumption fall in the June quarter. It was down 13% overall, but discretionary spending down 25% in one quarter.
I think that weak consumption's there because people are petrified. They don't want to spend because they're worried they'll fall through the safety net, or worried they'll fall through the cracks.
Remember the V-shaped recovery, the economic snapback? The figures released today cover April to June. That means they reflect the first round of lockdowns before the explosion in Victoria's case numbers. This graph from the Reserve Bank today puts what is happening in Australia into a sombre global perspective. The government's original plan was based on the hope that if we got through the first few months, things could return to some new normal fairly quickly, starting in July. And this is the problem. We don't seem to have recalibrated our expectations or policies to reflect the fact that there is no snapback, no V-shaped recovery in prospect.
If we look at the RBA estimates of unemployment, it's still forecasting unemployment of 10% at the end of this year, 9% by middle of next year. That is a very slow recovery in terms of jobs. And quite frankly, I think, that would be an indication of policy failure if that's where we were by mid-next year.
In the last few days, the Prime Minister has been trying to not just set a message of hope, but a new timeline for when we might see some normality in our lives.
By Christmas, Mr Speaker, we should aim for Australians to be able to go to work, to be able to be with their family at Christmas and to return.
Despite the extension of the JobKeeper wage subsidy, passed by Parliament this week, the government's support for the economy will start to taper off from the end of this month, even though there is no sign yet of an economic comeback. The government is in a holding pattern, simply extending and modifying its original plan until it unveils a new one in the October budget.
They should be reconsidering the withdrawal of JobKeeper. They should be building social housing so that we can get those construction jobs. Clearly there's a need for more investment in human services and the caring economy.
The government's immediate focus now is on getting the state borders open and the economy moving again. But today's national accounts demonstrate the extent of the economic disaster we are living through and suggest the economy will need a lot more help from the government, and not just open borders, in coming months.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.